Hello everyone, it's Sarah here, painting creator, and welcome to my little YouTube channel. It's a slow channel and a low tech channel because I'm slow and low tech, but I love painting and I love watercolours, so that's what this is about. So today I thought I would share with you this little beauty because one of my friends was asking around watercolour postcards, and I do send watercolour postcards out to people, and you can buy watercolour postcards in little packs. I think this one was from Hobbycraft, and it's A6 size, and it's a 350 gram paper, so it's a really good weight of paper. It's got a medium rough texture, and then on the back there's a little printed bit for you to put the address and the stamp, and then a little message. It's just so nice to send. If you are sending them though, I would suggest that you seal the watercolour image with something after you've painted it, so it needs to be fully dry before you send it. And this is what I use, which is the Dorland's Wax Medium, which is a waterproof protective top coat for watercolours, gouache, acrylics, oils and more. It's a really soft dubbing type medium that you put on a cloth and you just rub in gently into the dry surface. If you haven't got that, you could use some clear wax based polish. Give that a try. You could try some dubbing, or you could try some hairspray. But remember that the silicone in the hairspray will change the colour of your watercolours, so just be careful. Recently I've run a set of Zoom paint-alongs with this painting, which is a painting of, let me just zoom out a little bit, which is a painting of the sea. And it's been really nice to share those paintings together. But it's a painting this that you can do in lots of different sizes. So I'm going to do a painting on the postcard of this size. And I live with a chronic illness that it's really good sometimes to just have something small to paint, because our energy levels are small, and so therefore having a smaller surface is really helpful. So I've masked out, you might be able to just see, using the Sennelier drawing gum on this. I needed a smaller masking fluid applicator, and this has got a really fine applicator tool as part of it. It's a really nice masking fluid to have, but you could just use a very fine brush and a standard masking fluid. This is a Winsor & Newton one, but let it dry naturally, because otherwise you end up with a situation where you can't remove the masking fluid. So this is dry, yeah, dry enough. So I'm going to start with a gentle wash of water over that sort of sea area, and I'm just going to drop in a nice rich blue. So this is a phthalo or a Prussian blue, nice rich warm blue. So much more of a Mediterranean sea vibe rather than a Irish sea vibe or a North Sea vibe. And I'm just using random strokes, making that, you know, some areas a little bit darker with heavier pigment of paint, other areas a bit lighter. Just dancing the brush around, holding the brush high up so that I'm not trying to control it too much. And then I'm just going to drop in. So I've washed my brush, take some of the water out of my brush, and I'm just going to pick up some yellow ochre from my palette, and I'm just going to drop that in. And it makes beautiful greens on the palette. Just trying to keep those marks random. It's the beach showing through underneath. And just letting the colours mix on the palette. And that's beautiful. I'm just going to let that dry for a little bit. So because I've got the masking fluid here, I can work onto the beach. So I'm just going to start off with a nice wash of yellow ochre onto this beach. I don't want it too even. I like some darker spots, some lighter spots. I'm just adding in a little bit of burnt sienna. Again, holding my brush quite high up. So I'm just yellow ochre and a touch of blue into there. We'll make it a bit greener. Then a touch of brown. Maybe a bit more blue. And a little bit of burnt sienna into there. Just to warm it up a little bit. Remember that you're I'm just going to drop in a dark around the shadow area of the wave that's coming through. Remember that your colours will mix on the paper and they will lighten. They'll drop around 30% lighter. So I'm just adding a little bit of blue into the mix now. We can darken those shadows. I'm just going to add some yellow ochre over the top just to break some of those lines up. Nice beach area. Maybe a little muddy, but it'll be fine. So I'm just going to pause the video and let that dry a little while before I come and spray it with my spray bottle. So it's drying, this wash now. It's not dry, it's still a little bit damp to touch, but I'm going to go in with my little spray bottle and just spray some texture. And the little water droplets just help separate the colours that you've mixed together to create a little bit of vibrancy and light. So I'm just going to let this settle a bit longer and then dry, and then I might do this a couple more times just to build up that texture. Okay, so here I am back. absolutely beautiful textures across this beach area. It almost looks like it's distressed to me. And then beautiful depth in here. If you haven't quite got this sort of depth and the colour changes, you can go, now it's dry, completely dry, you can go back in with a second wash and enhance some of those, but I don't actually think this needs it. So I'm just going to rub off the masking fluid. You can use a pick-up rubber if that's easier for you. It just rubs it away and then you take the excess off. You must wait until the masking fluid's dry in order to do this, because otherwise you could tear the paper. And obviously if your masking fluid's been on a while and you find it tears, try just warming it up a little bit, and that sometimes helps with the lifting of the adhesive. I like doing it with my fingers because that leaves my whoops a daisy, that I know that it's all off. So I'm going to just make a really faint pale wash using a blue and some yellow ochre. I made it really watery because it's just a wash to go on top, and I'm just going to put a wash across this area, pushing back the white of the paper a little bit because I want the front white to feel whiter. It's fine if you don't get everything. And then you're just going to let that dry again. So I don't think that this area is dark enough under this front wave. So I'm just grabbing my little 4 synthetic round brush and I'm going to mix a dark. So I'm going to start with some yellow ochre, a touch of burnt sienna, and then I'm going to add the blue of the sea into there, and I've made a dark. So it's quite a thick paint, it's probably milky consistency, and I'm just going to go under that front edge of it a little bit, wash my brush, take some of the water out and then push it under the wave. So pushing it into going into the damp page. Now this isn't my usual paper, so it doesn't quite take as much working as some of my other papers do that are probably better quality, to be fair, but it works. If you do a little bit at a time, it doesn't have time to sort of stain that much, and you can soften it and work with it and get a little bit of variety. And sometimes you just have to accept it's not perfect, but it's a start. And we're just starting together, so that's fine. And as those skills and techniques build, then you get a little bit easier. So I'm going to wait for that one to dry a little bit, or make it dry if you're patient with a hairdryer, it's fine. I'll be back. Okay, so this is dry. I'm just going to get my Dr. Martens out, and I'm just going to restore some of the brightness of this front wave across here. So I feel like I've lost it a little bit. You can add a little bit of extra detail. Maybe that bit should have been white and wasn't. You can use white gouache, a little bit of acrylic. It's fine. I just want that nice bright front edge. And for it to feel like it's just coming forward that little bit. And there's nothing wrong with using a little bit of white. And obviously if you didn't want it to be a Mediterranean-y sea, you could do a grey colour, greeny colours for the seas that are like North Sea and Irish Sea areas. And then I'm quite sure if you've got a sea near you that you love, you know the colour of it. Here we are, it's dry. I've given it a blast with the hairdryer, nearly dry. I like that white against the other, and I think it stands out. Sometimes I've splattered onto the beach to make some little rocks. This time I just love this texture that we've created with the spritzer bottle, so I'm going to just leave it. But if that's what you want, is to build the rocks up, that's to you. You can splatter away, but just make sure you cover the sea with a paper towel. So just remove your tape. Because it's a textured surface, sometimes you do get bleeding under it, like there. And we have been using wet in wet techniques, so. And then, as always, you've got to grab your pen. Actually, I might just darken some of these little edges with my pen. You could do it with a brush, a really fine brush. Well, I find my ink pen's useful. Just don't draw a line all the way under. That's quite nice. And then you've got your address and space to write it. I'm just going to wait for a little minute and then I will show you how to add the wax medium. Hopefully it'll be dry enough. I'm hoping it's dry enough. Ideally wait a day and it'll be dry enough. So a paper towel, small bit of wax medium onto the paper towel, and then you're literally just rubbing it gently across the grain of the paper. And then when you run out, a tiny bit more, less is more as always. move it across the grain of the paper, and it just helps to seal it. If you just tilt it, you'll be able to see that it's covered. Yep, that's covered nicely, and that just will protect it once it's dry in the post, so that whoever you send your postcard to gets it nice and fresh. So that was Dorland's wax medium that I've used, a jacquard it says. I've had it a while, and you only use a very small amount, so although it's a little bit more expensive, it's really worth it. So I hope you enjoy that. Please like and subscribe. If you'd like a one-to-one, please get in touch. I can arrange that on Zoom. And happy painting. Remember, you're painting a painting, not a photograph. And all accidents are happy accidents, and just see what the watercolour brings. Have a lovely time. Bye.